You see, I grew up in America. I grew up in the land where phrases like, I have a dream, meant something. I grew up where I believed that freedom existed, that that's what I was fighting for. I believed that the Statue of Liberty was a symbol of our liberty, that we all came from all over the world because we didn't want to live underneath the monarchy, that our founding fathers made America the land of the free and the land of the brave. I don't care what you say to me. I don't care if there's a shadow government or there's people out there that's trying to take it away from us. This is America, damn it, and I'm taking it back.
And now your host, Terry Joyce.
She killed herself with a red scarf. Gosh, I really hope it wasn't the Hermes. I mean, maybe the Barneys, but not the Hermes. But I guess if you are going to commit suicide, one would choose to use the Hermes. I screwed that last line up. I know that probably sounds really rude. Oh, how could you be so heartless and talk about suicide and red scarves like that and make a distasteful joke? Don't you have any sympathy for people? Well, you know, I figure that if Chris Rock can do a routine where, you know, it's time to like shoot white children, you know, or Samantha Bee can call Ivanka Trump a feckless, you know what I'm talking about, and if Roseanne or Michelle Walker or anybody right now saying anything that seems distasteful, I think I'm perfectly within my right, all right? Because these people, let's just talk about Kate Spade for a second and what's gone down with this. First of all, I want to point out, I'm sure a lot of you probably already know, probably those of you who are listening to this radio network, you're not running around, doing memes about suicide and how important it is to hug your best friend right now, because suicide seems to be an epidemic and people just seem to be wanting to take their lives out of nowhere for whatever reason, you know, kind of like the same thing as all these shootings are happening. Now everybody sort of wants to like hang themselves. Notice that they're all hanging themselves, you know, they're not using, I would think the more pleasant way to go would be just to take some pills and like lie down and sleep, you know, that's like, let yourself fade out with some sort of like drug, and or maybe even like combine it with, you know, I really shouldn't be saying this because if somebody wants to take me out, this is probably going to be the way that I'm going to go out. Did you know that she did a show about what are the different methods of how to commit suicide? But really, I mean, who doesn't want to just like die in their sleep if they had to do it? You know, like when you think about dying, you don't think about like I'm going to be, you know, in a car and I get into an accident and a can of pork and beans in the back of the car comes as a centrifugal force, like comes in and makes my head explode, you know, and I'm dead. You know, we don't want to think about, you know, like having to like really suffer much when we leave this earth. You know, I think most of us kind of imagine ourselves just being old or, you know, having a good life and being surrounded with our loved ones. And then, you know, one day, you know, just like we were just, you know, a sweet little old man or little old lady, you know, had, you know, a wonderful evening with family and lied down. And then, you know, the good Lord took them. I think like, you know, if this is your scenario, I would say if in the thought of like, well, what are my death options? You know, that would be, you know, like a full life, a full, sweet, pleasant life. One day you just went to sleep and you just didn't wake up in this realm anymore. You woke up in the other. You woke up in the other realm. If I believe that there's more to this existence, but you know, we all have our own opinions. So, okay. But you know, when you think about killing yourself in a designer scarf, because believe me, she was a fashion designer, so I'm pretty sure she wasn't like hanging herself with a Target scarf. Okay, she didn't go to the 99-cent store and go, oh, look at this. Let me get one of them that's made out of polyester. No, she probably had an Hermes or, some scarf rich people do, because you know how rich people are. They're like, if you can't buy the designer clothing, well, at least get a scarf, because, at least you went that far. You got yourself a scarf, but a red scarf, okay, a red scarf at that, which also symbolizes things. A lot of people are, I've watched a few videos on it, and, what the symbolism of the red scarf meant. I mean, we live in a world of symbolism, and so whether we're reading too much into it or not too much into it, I think it's fair to say that these people were people who had money, right? And they were in the club. Now let's talk about Kate Spade. She was connected to the Clintons, and she had a business. Her business was also in Port-au-Prince, just like Chester Bennington had his recycling company, funded by the Clinton Foundation. Okay. And Chris Cornell, well, maybe he's, dead by proxy. Yeah, it's just normal for two guys who are in like one of the biggest rock bands ever, just out of the blue, almost back to back, take their own lives. That's also odd. So what I thought was rather humorous to observe was how social media was reacting to it. And I was watching reactions of people that are not QAnon, people that are not American Freedom Radio, people that are not any of the alternative medias. They hate Alex Jones. People that hate Alex Jones. And Roger Stone were actually making comments like, well, who else did Hillary kill again? Is this another HRC hit? And they were other comic friends of mine, and they were flipping through social media like slingers everywhere. I'm sure you witnessed it. I've never seen people like end up dead like this, and then all of a sudden, mainstream people are starting to wonder about what's going on. I've actually have friends now on Facebook that, they're my friends, but we communicate on Facebook. So just these people, we're friends before before Facebook even really existed, but we're all on Facebook. This one woman, I worked on marijuana legalization, activism here in Los Angeles, and also we were in Occupy together. And I was making commentary. I've been posting things about the bizarreness. We're going to start today. I want to start with Kate Spade. Now, granted, I know that there's already a lot of information out on, the internet, but I feel that, the reason why maybe you're tuning into the Freedom of Joy show is because you want to hear my take on it. So I'm going to give you my analysis on, what's going on. What's going on? There's something going on here, Mr. Jones, but there's something going on here because there's something going on here, and you don't know what it quite, because there's something going on here, and you don't know quite what it is. Do you, Mr. Jones? Or you really don't know what it is? I don't know. I'm not quoting that right. But I really feel that this is, in some ways, some people I realize are just so on it. Okay, we've been following this, and we talk. We go, this. Did you notice this? Did you notice this? We automatically go on a checklist because when something happens, you hear somebody commit suicide, it's like, uh-oh. Like, for example, Anthony Bourdain. I, woke up, made my way, towards the bathroom or whatever, came out, and one of my roommates what he does is he looks at things on the internet, things that happen, like historical events, and he makes a copy of them, and he puts it in a book. Like, he keeps his own little personal journal of everything. He's a little bit Rain Man, okay, which is not a bad thing for someone like me, because every once in a while he'll say something. did you see this? Here, and he prints it out, he hands it to me. I'm like, gee, thanks. Of course, he doesn't delve. He's a little bit more mainstream. But here he is, and I can see in his computer, and he goes, Anthony Bourdain died. You know this guy? And he goes, he's the one who has a chef show. And I'm like, well, I don't really watch chef shows. He's the one that goes around all the world. I'm thinking, yeah, I think I've seen that guy somewhere before. Yeah. But right then, I'm like, oh, my God, let me go to my computer. Who killed him? Is it the Clintons? Well, by damn, if it isn't, suspicious about his death. And we're going to go into that, too, a little bit today as well. And I also want to go into talking about, again, that Haiti connection. I attempted to do a show last Wednesday, and the footage didn't really come out very well. We had some sound issues going on, and I'm not satisfied with it. And I also feel that I maybe didn't have totally all my ducks in a row on what I wanted to say. So I thought, well, there might be a take two on this, and that has to do with I titled the show, Will What Happens in Haiti Stay in Haiti? Because there's a lot of interesting players out there in this, and it's all kind of, culminating in a little pot. And so now we can definitely put Kate Spade in Haiti. We can put Chester Bennington in Haiti. We can put Valerie Jarrett in Haiti, and I want to explain how that connection is. And we can also put Ed Rendell in Haiti. We've got Laura Silsby in Haiti. We've got the Clinton Foundation. And we do have a suspicion of some organ harvesting coming out of Haiti. And these are topics that I've been covering over, this past year. And, if you want to look at my archives and just go in a little bit more depth about what I'm talking about, please do, because it is out here. And you can also check out my videos on the Truth Cat Radio YouTube channel. Some of those things, I've sort of broken up these topics into two different areas, but Ed Rendell has some pedo, smoke going on. He also has a closeness to Barney Frank and Jerry Sandusky. He went down to go get orphans out of Haiti and transfer them to the United States. This is some information that is in WikiLeaks, actually, too. Some of the orphans did die before they got there, and they were supposed to be placed. There was a certain amount of orphans that were already going to be placed into people's households once they got to the United States. Now, one person who did oversee this was Valerie Jarrett. She is also part of it. So we do know that the Clintons have pardoned Laura Silsby, who was doing child trafficking, and they did have the Clinton Foundation trying to give the earthquake relief. The Clintons did, right? So we all know that the Clintons were down there apparently giving aid and creating these grants and these programs, but underneath their foundations there seems to be a lot of stench going on, a lot of suspicious connections to their activities. Even in the connection, that's all I'm going to say, okay? These people have suspicious connections. Now, I can go on and just give you a whole, you know what I'm talking about. I don't even need to point out the theory of it. You can just kind of connect the dots and kind of wonder, wow, why is this all in a little pile right here? Well, yeah, it probably has to do. This may be the child, trafficking little nugget, and maybe the reason why these people are dead is because they participated in it, they knew about it, they had a moment of guilt, they're on the verge of being discovered, so they need to take their lives anyways. We can go down whatever melting pot that you want to. There seems to be we're in there doctors and people from Wall Street, bankers just happen to just jump out of buildings for no reason. I think these people, my theory is some of these people may be jumping out of buildings because they know what they've done. Okay, and they're not willing to face the repercussions for the discovery of society. to actually find out what they've done. That's one thing that I think might be very apparent, because these are people that have the ideal. They have everything that most people really wish that they have, or they are the monarcher to the rest of us other, cows out here, us useless eaters, barely worth more than, animals. And this is how they think of us, by the way. Okay. That's why they're wanting to exterminate us. Yes, this is what I think. Okay, I'm talking right now as if I'm talking to my Facebook friends. I realize you, who probably are actually really listening to me, are far more intelligent than how I'm referring to you. So I apologize for insulting your intelligence and assuming that you don't know exactly what I'm talking about. All right. But from my observations of watching, because you know what? I data mine Facebook. I data mine Twitter, okay? I watch reactions, just like I think we all might do. I don't know if everybody does that. I find it interesting to see what certain groups are thinking. I'm following Judd Apatow right now, and I can see his tweets. I'm following some of these people. I used to follow them, and at some point their tweets were irritating me, and I thought, you know what? Maybe I just need to watch them and see what their tweets. I'd like to see what they're saying. I want to see what the opposition is saying, the lies that they're spitting, the propaganda that they're spitting, and I really want to see exactly who's doing it. Don't you? I'm taking notes. I'm talking about it. That's why I'm here today. And you know what? I really enjoy doing it. And guess what? Nobody pays me to do it either. I do it for the full pleasure of exposing what I think is corrupt in the world. And you know what? I might write a joke. And maybe my joke will offend you. But you know what? I really don't give a fuck. Because if I did, I wouldn't be doing it. So, I really think that this is the time in human history that if you have access to a halfway decent microphone, and you're able to talk and you want to discuss this stuff, bring it on. Bring it on. We need more voices. We need more witnesses to what's happening. And again, the advice is always to, work with discernment. All right. Why did it do that? Of course it did. I was just going to look at my little iPad here. Oh, isn't it funny? There's something else that's I guess trending is not happening anymore. Facebook's decided not to trend. We've taken away the trending, tool. Yeah, because your shit isn't trending, is it? Facebook and these people don't want us to see what's trending. Because what I see is trending, let's come back to Mr. Trudeau for a moment, because I'm not done with Kate Spade. What I see as trending is, and I feel like I'm part of the participation in what's trending, being that I admin a few groups with about, 12,000 or maybe more people connected to it. And, okay, I've got potential spam trying to call me. I'm going to turn my phone off here because funny how they call between 2 and 4 on Mondays and Tuesdays. I always say that. Funny how they call now. Always, when I'm talking about Kate Spade. Okay, now let's break Kate Spade down. First of all, her clothing has some really major occult symbolism in it, and connections to the secret societies that shouldn't be in power. Okay, the owl and all that kind of good stuff. But what I find the most telling is the fact that Andy Spade, her husband, is walking around in public with a rat mask. A lot of people I'm hearing through the grapevine that he's being made to wear the rat mask because he's a rat, you see, and he's being made an example of for anybody else who wants to rat out what is really going on. Okay, he's a rat, all right, and the suicide note, Andy Spade said that he was upset about the fact that the media released what the suicide note said when he hasn't even seen a suicide note himself. Now, what the suicide note said was it said something, I'm paraphrasing, all right, but I'm not going to say the exact words. I don't have the article in front of me, okay, at the moment. But the article says, this is the most telling part, I think. The article says to the daughter, I'm sorry that I'm just committing, suicide. It's not your fault. If you really want to know why I'm doing it, why don't you ask Daddy? See, because Daddy was a rat. Daddy was a rat, and he's having to wear a rat mask. And the note probably wasn't written by Kate Spade. Maybe it wasn't even written by her, okay? And the media has spun it because it's been told to. And the media is in on the message that Andy Spade is telling to the ones who compromised themselves and did something with the Clintons, or they've known exactly what's going on, or they've even participated in it, and now they want to, I don't know, maybe cop a plea deal, maybe be exonerated, maybe they want to go into the witness protection program, they want to clean their life up, maybe they want to ask for forgiveness for the things that they've done because they know that they've done wrong and they want to somehow get out of it. Well, guess what happens to you? You're going to wear a rat mask and your wife is going to be murdered with a red silk scarf and a designer one and probably her own. And it will be symbolic. And it is happening this way. It would have been different if she hadn't committed suicide in a red silk scarf. I don't know if it was silk actually, but I'm assuming she's not going to go for the finer things in life because these people have sacrificed their soul basically for them, right? Kind of. There's speculation, at least we can go there, that you don't get to have a business. You don't party with the Clintons in Port-au-Prince. And I don't know, maybe she has sweatshops down there, giving jobs to the locals to make her designer outfits, her special handbags, her $4,000 handbags. Oh, do I sound mean? Do I sound cruel? Do I? Tough shit. If the other people can be mean, if Anthony Bourdain can say, what would you cook Donald Trump? I'd make him hemlock. I think my opinion about these people is perfectly acceptable to us, isn't it? Wow. That's what I think's going on. Now, some people are saying that it's the rescuers. The rescuers, it's the rescue mouse, and they're calling it a mouse hat. It's not a rat face. You know what? Andy Spade's face even looks kind of like a rat, doesn't it? I mean, he's got that little upper, he's got that high lip, no lip thing, and a kind of a buck thing coming out like Hillary eats children. Hillary. Oh my God. Oh my God. They're gonna find out we went to a sex orgy. I don't know. I'm sure his voice isn't like that, but. Yeah, he doesn't need the mask. Maybe people's faces just turn into the animal in which they are most like anyway. Like if you have a rat face, maybe you were a rat in another life. Excuse me. Rats apparently are not well received in this society or to these people. They take their oaths seriously, don't they? Oh, really? There you go. Why don't you ask David Carradine what would happen? I love these guys that, get caught for erotica asphyxiation. That's another humiliating way to go. Let's talk about Robin Williams being hung, too, right? Robin Williams was hung? Really? I find that hard to believe that Robin Williams would choose to go that way, especially somebody who was afraid seemed to be afraid of pain in a way. I mean, he the theory is that he wanted to go because he didn't want to live losing his motor skills and the torture. So I don't know. I mean, again, I just don't think something's wrong. Now, let's go to Anthony Bourdain. All right, so I watched a few things on him. I did some research. Now, he, was in a relationship with Asia Argento, and her father has done a lot of satanic cinema. Italian cinema. He's known for doing movies about witch covens and all kinds of and there's tons of stuff on social media and in the press of Asia Argento doing all the symbolism, all of it. The eye, the tongue, the pyramid, the Masonic things, the Masonic black and white. All of that. She's also, there was a tweet where she talked about being her and her daughter. She's the Red Witch, and her daughter is the teenage Red Witch, which means that they work with red blood sacrifice with their spells. They work with blood with their spells. That's what the Red Witch is. Amber Tamblyn, did some sort of, love and light, blessed be, do all your spell casting to protect her because she needs to be protected, kind of thing. So that kind of is raising an eyebrow. She has interesting tattoos. She has a snake tattoo. There is apparently, there's also footage of Anthony Bourdain on his show. He kills a cobra and cuts the cobra's heart out, and it's beating in a dish. And he hurries up and he sucks it down like he's eating an oyster while it's beating, because you need to eat it while it's beating, and takes it down in one swallow like it's good. And apparently if you eat the beating heart of a human, a child, of an animal, then you take in the energy of that being, or it gives you special powers. And I guess this is an Aleister Crowley thing. I mean, it's part of the occult. And I know it sounds bizarre, all right? And this is what I'm seeing online. Okay? And I'm inclined to say, yeah, it does look like that. If you examine the material and you watch the show, theoretically, it looks like why is he swallowing a beating heart? I mean, that's kind of savage, right? I mean, think about it. Do you want to swallow a beat? Does that look appetizing to you? Like, let me just cut it right out. Fuck putting it any type of oil on it, or salt, or seasoning, or put a little sprig of a designer, put it on a plate, squeeze some sauce around it, make it look attractive. Oh, this is a Colbra heart. It's a delicacy. No, just whip it right out and swallow it. Yes, ma'am, here we go. What's next? If you're doing that with animals, what if you're not screwed on right? What if your brain isn't screwed on right? What if deep down you're actually a sociopath? And the next step is whatever. It just didn't look right to me. Didn't look right. You know? I mean, Anthony Bourdain was charming. He was tall. He was handsome. And I'm pretty sure he probably made some damn good food. And yeah, I do remember looking at his shows. It must have been exciting to go all over the world and travel and eat food and absorb culture and bringing it to people. But look, it was on CNN. It was in the Clinton News Network. He was aligned with fake news CNN. And then he was saying some very public statements that were very anti-Trump. I put hemlock in his meal. I'm sorry, but isn't that kind of the same as Kathy Griffin, like holding a beheaded, image of Trump, or the same as doing a production of Julius Caesar where the character of Julius Caesar looks a lot like Trump? What are you telling the people when you have millions of fans watching you, thinking that you're living the glamorous life, that you're extra special, and you're sitting back and you're talking about putting hemlock in the president's, drink? Have we ever seen a time in human history, in any political history in the United States, where that would even be allowed to be said and put in the press without the person being maybe pulled aside and investigated? Let's go a little deeper about what Hollywood's been doing to people and been programming people. I watched a show recently where I saw an interview of Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy, before he was executed, was talking about how evil television was, and how graphic and how violent and how very real it looked. And that somebody who had the propensity to be like him, that saw and viewed the world like him, because he even alluded that the people doing these films are like him, putting it out there, maybe even the top people like him to do the things that he's doing. Right? Now, I want to make another point, too, while it's on my mind right now. When we talk about violence and television, and we see all these shootings that's going on, did you know? Okay, let me get this started here. Wait, how am I going to explain this? Okay. The director Oliver Stone, when he saw why is my mind blanking? Come on, man. Oh, his own film. Okay, give me a second. My mind blanked. I don't think that that's an accident sometimes, because this is a big connect. This is a big connection. Okay. Because I've been talking about Oliver Stone and his connection to Mr. Eyebrows, Michael Aquino, and the fact that Michael Aquino praised Oliver Stone in his book, Mind Games. Okay. Natural Born Killers. That's it. So, when I didn't have to look it up, it just came. All right. So, when he directed, Natural Born Killers, all right, and if you've not seen that movie, all right, a lot of us have, okay, and it was a big deal when it came out. It was very, very violent, and it was about people that were just killers. They just killed Woody Harrelson and Juliette Lewis were lovers in it, and then it had Robert Downey Jr. in it, and it was just so violent, and it was all about the media. It was a statement on the media, really, and how the media glamorized it. All right, and then even the Robert Downey Jr. character was just as perverted, really, in the end, as the people of doing it, as if basically it was the film saying what the film was doing, and the film did what the film said it was doing. Okay, it's basically what happened, because after that movie came out, there was a statement by Oliver Stone that he said, after watching the movie, it made me feel like I'm one. The director of the own movie said that in a public statement. And did you know that the people, the young men that did the Columbine shooting, that was one of the movies that they watched over and over and over again, apparently. They watched that movie, and they watched a movie called Basketball Diaries, which had Leonardo DiCaprio coming in and shooting a classroom, dressed in a black trench coat. Okay? And then you have Lieutenant Michael Aquino praising the director Oliver Stone in his book. Well, I wonder why. Isn't that a mind game? Isn't that a mind game? Isn't that a mind game to create more violence in our world? Maybe. The violence that needs to create the violence to get rid of us, because, we're just the useless eaters here. We're nothing more than animals as people, because we can't take responsibility for our lives, because we're on social services. It's almost like our world wants us on social services, because then they know where we're at, and those people are the first to go, aren't they? Hey, isn't it interesting that when you go to social services, there's a bunch of people outside telling you about all these health studies that you can volunteer in and get testing medication? Yeah. You know why that is? You know why they're hanging around trying to bring you in? They know you need the money, and you're a freaking human guinea pig. We're guinea pigs to these people. Yep. We sure are. I'm not really that impressed anymore with directors and things and what they say and what's going on. Not when you see, what's happening right now in this world. So now we have this chef. We're going to go a little bit further today. We have this chef, Anthony Bourdain, who has a picture of himself nude, pretty much, holding a bone, quite a big bone. I don't know what kind of animal it is. Maybe it's not even a real bone. Maybe it's a human bone. Who knows what kind of bone it is? But the bone he's holding over his, his genitalia, as if it's his fig leaf. Okay, and it's still kind of bloody looking. It's not like. It's not like, Barney and it's not like a cartoon bone. Pebbles and Bam Bam bone. It's not a Bam Bam bone. It's a bone that looks like it's, still got a little blood, maybe a little meat hanging on it. Yeah. Kind of juicy, like, swallowing the cobra heart. And then there's another picture that I saw. Now, I don't know if it was at the same event, if he was just being, artsy fartsy, like sometimes people are, oh, I'm so radical, I'm going to hold a big bone over my bone. I'm going to hold a big bone over my boner, and take a picture. Put it out there. But there's another photo of Marina Abramovic in a pile of bones with little red fleshy pieces on it, and like as if it's just been chucked aside with a little bit of blood and skin on it, and she's sitting in the middle of it like it's like as if this is the mountain to be sitting on. Like, oh, it's no big deal. Do you ever notice how a lot of these entertainers just kind of put blood in their face, or they, there's all these blood things going on. I remember when Lady Gaga, okay, there was one concert that she was doing, and I really when Lady Gaga came out, I stopped listening to pop. I really got more into like alternative rock or trip trap, or I became. There was a period where it was like, oh yeah, it's Madonna, and Janet Jackson and whomever, Paula Abdul. I mean, I've gone through phases. I listened to Kiss FM, Rick Dees in the morning when I first moved to LA. And that was the top 40. They would play. I remember when I first moved to LA, it was like Bringing Down the House and Talking Heads and all kinds of. The music was, of course, the 80s, and but then I got alternative. You move on, but yeah. So really, as far as I'm concerned, Lady Gaga is basically Madonna retread all over again, only more grotesque and not quite as pretty in the face. I really think I don't get it about Lady Gaga. I don't think she's pretty. I don't think she has a pretty face. She's got a nice body, and she dances well and she does slutty things. But really, when you look at her, you're like, she's made up. She could almost be. I mean, it's like drag queens. Okay, drag queens. They know how to be feminine. They know how to be over the top, or maybe men who are transvestites or whatever. I have a friend of mine who just is an artistic genius with transforming himself into all kinds of things. Sometimes he looks feminine, sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he has weird eyes. Sometimes he's amazing. All right, it's like, my God, what an artist! She should be a makeup artist, really. But sometimes they're more caricature of a female than a female herself is. It's over the top. There's a little over the top to it, isn't there? I mean, come on. So any woman, if she has the right team behind them, can do certain things to their physical appearance because people are so manipulated. Okay, you make your boobs look bigger, you push them up. I mean, women know how to do this. We wear certain things. We do our hair a certain way. We put our makeup a certain way. Put our eyeliner a certain way. Boom, 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 boom. You're freaking hot. You're gonna turn heads. I don't care what age you are. I don't care. Look, I do it. I know because I do it. I know how to do it myself. I know how to dress up, look absolutely stunning. Even no matter what. Seriously. Enough to where you knew I will walk down the street and a car will go, do you need a ride? Yes. Tell me, so you don't have to be, totally, it's whatever they want to do with you. I mean, there was a lady named Angeline that would, that she actually ran for, I think, a governor of California. Angeline, anybody who lives in Los Angeles knows that she had this big old blonde wig and big boobs and pink top and like a Barbie doll sitting she had billboards. People bought billboards for her, and she became a famous icon. And simply for that. And she wasn't that. What they did is they did an experiment on her. She was like, I heard she was like kind of, nothing special. And they go, look, we can take a nobody and turn them into, with our publicity, we can turn them into, a huge star. Now, Lady Gaga, okay, a friend of mine, she was, years, we were working together for grassroots campaigns, and everybody was talking about how great Lady Gaga was. Oh my God, Lady Gaga, Lady Gaga, Lady Gaga. And she was, all right. So she showed me a video of a concert, and there was Lady Gaga running around with blood all over her on stage, with blood, and then going, oh, and I was like, why? I looked at my friend. I go, why does she have blood all over her like this? It's not normal. Something's not right here. Oh no, this is great. It's fine. There's no problem. I don't see a problem with it. I go, no, there's something very energetically not right. And this is a long time ago before I even heard about, spirit cooking or was aware that these people were into blood or, any of this kind of stuff. I was, or so they say, because if you, right now I'm talking to you about this on American Freedom Radio, but if I, were to have a discussion with my mom, she would tell me that I have mental issues. This is how weird this is. You go and you talk about this to somebody else when you realize that this really does take place. If you really do research these people, you will really understand that, yeah, there is something like this going on. There are people who practice cannibalism. There's people that practice cannibalism so much that they had a museum of art in San Diego with the history of cannibalism in our world. That's how prevalent cannibalism is. When you look at all these different shows, like, for example, the show that Drew Barrymore is on, yeah, look, it's cannibalism. So here's my question about Anthony Bourdain. If he's running around, looking like maybe, or they're making it look like he's associated to Marina Abramovic, and he has a bone and he's swallowing, Colbra hearts, is he one of the elite spirit cookers? Huh? Is that what's happening? I mean, he certainly has taken the side, in the beginning of Hillary camp, of David Brock camp. He certainly sided with, the anti-Trump, let's kill Trump team, okay? And then he kind of crossed over. He kind of said, well, now apparently there's tweets where he was criticizing the deep state. Like, he's not allowed to tweet until he gets permission from the deep state. Criticizing Hillary for having prior knowledge of Harvey Weinstein's, behavior, and criticized her. And I think that's a real tweet, all right? I mean, that's where we're kind of, getting, I think, a little bit to the nugget, because Asia Argento was part of the hashtag #MeTooTimesUp movement because Harvey Weinstein raped her during, I guess it was Cannes Film Festival, when she was 21, 22 years old. So she's made this big speech, talking and raising, her arms up to all of this, female, we shouldn't be coerced. None of us in this business should be doing what we're doing. Blah 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 blah. But let me ask you, and let me just put this in your mind. Why now? Would Asia had come out and reported Harvey Weinstein after the incident had actually really happened? Would she have gone in and had DNA samples to prove that he raped her then? Why is she waiting, like 20 years later or something? And then she has a relationship with Anthony Bourdain, And perhaps that's when he started to criticize Hillary. And perhaps that's when he started to criticize the corruption that was going on in what's happening. So, is he a lamb? You know, is he somebody that's just eccentric? You know, it's like, oh yeah, I'll just go ahead and like eat a Colbra heart and, you know, suck it down on TV. But it kind of already alludes to sort of more of a savage type of behavior, historically, biblically known as a savage sort of behavior, but it's a cobra, it's a snake. So it's not, snakes are not revered, really, are that? Snakes are, you know, it's a snake, right? And yet they have tattoos of snakes. So that's a cult, right? Of course they want to do the snakes with the energy of the snake. I mean, the consciousness of the snake. Because, you know, there's consciousness in everything. It exists in everything. So there's a lot going on. I mean, like, some people think that maybe Asia Argento went after him. Some people think that you know, to take him out, you know, to coerce him into turning into somebody who started criticizing HRC. Maybe he didn't know these people are corrupt. Maybe you know, he was invited to all these parties. He cooked for Obama. He cooked for all these. He had his hand in all of this, and then maybe he realized the gig is up, and then when he realized that the gig is up, somebody said, no, I can't, in good faith, in my own consciousness, I can't handle this anymore, and I'm going to have to say something, because I know that Hillary knew exactly what Harvey Weinstein was doing. He knew that Harvey Weinstein was really good buds with Bill Clinton and the Clintons. He knew that Harvey Weinstein had given money to the Clinton Foundation. See, there's that Clinton Foundation connection. What do all of these people have to do with the Clinton? All of these people are connected to the Clinton Foundation. The Clinton Foundation, baby. It's the Clinton Foundation. All right, I'm going to take a break here in just a moment, probably in about the next minute, listening to American Freedom Radio. If you are tuned in live today, thank you so much for being here. And if you are watching this YouTube video, then please do take a moment to comment on what I'm talking about. Yeah. This is a big deal here. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of unanswered questions. It's definitely get your popcorn and enjoy the show because it's happening right now. And hopefully, I'm having trouble hearing today. I have a little bit of a different device, so I don't know if my theme song's going, but it is about that time. Yeah, I think I hear it. All right, everybody. We'll be right back with more Freedom of Joyce. Oh, I got 15 seconds. All right, I got 15 seconds. So, yeah, we'll be right back in the second hour. I will go into far more detail about these topics among other things. So stay tuned. Don't go away. We're going to have a fun time today.
is America, damn it, and I'm taking it back.
And now your host, Terry Joyce.
All right, welcome back to the Freedom of Joyce show here on American Freedom Radio. Excuse me for coughing. Welcome back to the show. Just want to let everybody know too that American Freedom Radio, we are listener supported. We do have a Patreon account on our website. If you'd like to support us, you can do that at AmericanFreedomRadio.com. We really appreciate it. We are sponsored too by SimplyCleanFoods.net. It's freeze-dried organic food that you can stock on your shelves for a rainy day. So, check those things out, and you can support us either way by contributing this way. Thank you so much for supporting us here, and thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the American Freedom Radio family. Okay, let's talk about Justin Trudeau. He, apparently got the shaft from Trump. This is NBCnews.com. Trump pulls U.S. out of G7 communication, accuses Trudeau of false statements. Really? The trade, false statements. Shocking. Well, apparently that really disheveled Mr. Trudeau so much that there's some sort of weird footage around him where he has his eyebrows slipping. It says, is Trudeau wearing fake eyebrows and did one fall off? And it's really hilarious. It's very bizarre. And apparently that might have made him sweat too much on the brow. And he lost an eyebrow on that. You really have to, look at it. But in my Facebook page, it's trending. It's trending. All right. Now, here's something else that I want to bring up, too. Speaking of sellout comedians, this just really disgusts me. Comedian Chris Rock openly calls for white kids to be shot. Anti-white racist Chris Rock wants white kids to be shot. Now, obviously, I don't know if I would just go right out and say that he was anti-white racist, but I will say that it's not cool. And I made a comment yesterday where I said not one child deserves to be shot, no matter what color they are. Shame on Chris Rock. This proves he's a tool. Now, Jeff Brown, who I was on Last Comic Standing with, said, please repost your numerous previous posts of wide open outrage for the children of color that have been murdered in cold blood. What does that mean? I mean, I'm sorry, Jeff Brown. But, I didn't really expect I was going to, say his name, but please repost your numerous previous posts of wide open outrage for the children of color that have been murdered in cold blood. All right. Now, I really want to kind of break this down. Is he talking about the pedophilia stuff I'm talking about? Because the pedophilia stuff it's not just little black kids that it's happening to. It's all children, all right? I mean, and this is a worldwide thing. So I don't think he's talking about that, all right? Is he talking about the shootings at the schools? Because they happen to be multicultural children too as well. Now, if we're talking about Zimmerman, the Zimmerman shooting of the young man that was shot, he wasn't a little child, but he was, and obviously that was a police brutality, or that was the, what was he, a security guard mess up or whatever. I personally, I marched for that in support, against the verdict. Okay. And also there were many peoples of of different races who were outraged, at that. So, to be black and white about this, if you will, it doesn't serve the issue any good. It doesn't help it. All right. How is it that white children should suffer over even the sins of their white parents, or the messed up manipulation of our culture? And I'm not just talking about white children. I mean, like I said all children. I said all children don't deserve to be shot. How dare Chris Rock talk about children in that kind of a manner and make a joke about it. I'm sorry. I think that how is it that that's okay, but Roseanne referring Valerie Jarrett to having looked like somebody who was in the movie Planet of the Apes, how is that any different than Chris Rock saying it's time, his statement? How is that different? So I had a couple comments. Seriously, it was a joke. And at a comedy show, if you watched the full show, you'd get it. What happened to everybody? Everyone is so sensitive. I watched the whole special and laughed my ass off. It's comedy, jokes, not real views and opinions. And I said it's socially engineering, and it's perpetuating racial hate in the U.S., which is an agenda of the Hollywood liberals who are controlling 90% of the mainstream media. Change the joke to killing black or Muslim children, and Chris Rock would be crucified as Roseanne. What is the difference? What is the difference? Except the fact that our media is perpetuating race hate. It just happens to be the hate of their choice at the given moment. Oh, because you happen to be persecuted doesn't mean that it gives you the right to go ahead and commit genocide again because it's your time to take revenge. Did revenge ever work for anybody? Is revenge any religion's higher way? Is it love that even the Satanists are touting? Are we all going to ascend and be forgiving and love and light if we think the white children should be shot now? How is that God? How is that Jesus? How is that Christian-like? How is that cabal? How is that Jewish? I'd like to know. So I'm going to tap onto the article. I'm going to actually read this one. Granted, there's probably some propaganda slant because, again, this is all racial tensions being fueled in the United States. So probably even this publication maybe is participating in the war between white and black people. Perhaps, I don't know, let's read it. Anti-white racist. So they're all calling him an anti-white racist. Now, we don't know that yet. We just know that he made a foul joke. Chris Rock wants white kids to be shot. The comedian's twisted logic is that real equality would include white mothers crying about their dead children on TV. They are crying about their dead children on TV, aren't they? What color is hashtag David Pig? Isn't David Hogg white? Isn't every single child that went in against the gun control in the media, aren't they mostly white? Did the white ones live and the black ones die? Did I not know something? Do we not know something here? Were the Columbine shootings all black children? This is just ridiculous, isn't it? I want to live in a world with real equality. Well, we all do, Chris. As the federal government state shows, far more white people are fatally shot by police than black people. A 2015 Washington Post study found that 49% of those families shot by police were white, while 24% were black. The fact that more white people are shot than black people is, of course, unsurprising because whites represent a higher percentage of the population than blacks, 62% and 13% respectively. According to that study, then, blacks are 2.5 times more likely to be fatally shot than whites. However, other studies that have drilled into the details of the specific cases more closely, including the Harvard study, found that in similar situations there is a significant racial disparity and fatal police shootings. To watch a black comedian with a network of 70 million in a country with a majority of white population whine about his victimhood is just pathetic. And for anyone who thinks it's okay for Rock to spew this kind of hatred for whites in a video because he's a comedian, you may want to watch this video, especially at the 3:10 mark, because there's nothing funny about anything he has to say. My dad used to say you can beat white people at anything, nothing, but you can knock them out. In my neighborhood, there's a 3 to 4 black people in my neighborhood in Alpine. It's me, Gary Sheffield, Mary Jane Blige, Patrick Ewing, Hall of Fame, Hall of Famer, greatest R&B singer of all time, who lives next to me. What's the white man next to me? He's a dentist. He didn't invent anything. He's just a dentist. That's what America is. So apparently, Chris Rock thinks that his contribution to the world is more special than a dentist. Well, you know what? Maybe it is. Maybe I'm sure the dentist isn't able to be funny, but is Chris Rock able to be a dentist? Huh? Takes a certain kind of talent to fix teeth, doesn't it? One of which a comedian probably can't do. But just the world doesn't really know who the dentist is. So I'm sorry that he's insulted that the dentist is able to live in the same tax bracket that his Hollywood ass can. And that the dentist is white. I mean, would it be different if it was a black dentist living next door? I mean, obviously there are black dentists too, or are all the only dentists that are able to become people who are able to become dentists are actually white? Are there any Jewish dentists? Huh? Any German? I guess there's German dentists. Any Asian dentists? I used to go to an Asian dentist. My dentist who gave me my braces was Chinese. That's not a white dentist, is it? Could he live in Chris Rock's neighborhood? Why are these people making stupid generalizations about our population and then writing? Why is Netflix giving this guy a special? To write mundane and inaccurate generalizations on our society, and then create more hate race in our world. Well, is it a next? Is this a next? I don't even know if it's a Netflix special. Could be HBO. And if you think anything has changed since the victim Chris Rock made this racist video, here's a video he made about the Confederate flag 3 years ago. Watch as he attempts to mock every white person or cracker, he calls them. The best line is when he calls Al Sharpton Martin Luther King Jr. with a perm. That's funny. That's funny, though. That's funny. I mean, he's being criticized, and yet when I share his criticism of saying something that I think is racist and really dangerous and inappropriate, I have another comedian whom I'm on the alumni with Last Comic Standing with. I mean, Jeff Brown, we were both top 10 finalists on the same season of Last Comic Standing, seems to think that it's perfectly okay and agrees with him. What the fuck? I don't get it. I really don't get it. I'm sick of it, really. It's frightening to me personally to see this stuff and to see the racial tensions. You know, if Ted Danson had roasted Whoopi Goldberg in blackface today, he would have to move to New Zealand. You would not get away with that, even if it was a joke. And you know what? Whoopi and Ted were screwing each other at that time. They were seeing each other. And he teased her with blackface. And that was controversial then. People didn't think it was funny. They thought that was just rude. It was a big deal back then. Had he done it today, he would have been just as criticized as Roseanne's tweet. See? Am I wrong? Would that not be accurate? I had a conversation with my friend Jay Kuti from the Patient Advocacy Network. It's a 501c3 nonprofit, which I actually had resigned from. Okay. We talked for a really long time last night because it came out that the other board member went nuts on my Facebook page, on my timeline. She's been on this show. I've interviewed her. She went on my timeline and told me, well, here's what my post was. I said, anybody who assumes that a Trump supporter is racist is obscene. It's obscene. That's what it was. It's obscene to view all Trump supporters as racist. And you know what? She lost her cookies. She did everything she did. She tried to do everything that she could to prove to me that not only were all Trump supporters racist, but that I myself, after working with her and serving on the board of directors for, I don't know, 8, 9, maybe 10 years, that I am now a white supremacist for even making that post. And she publicly argued, said many other things to where I had to block her. And at the time, I didn't feel that DeJay looked into it in a timely fashion, and I was upset by that, and I've simply resigned. Well, guess what? The new person that came on the board of directors resigned for the same thing. Only DeJay convinced her to stay because now it's apparent that it happened. She said she was going to wait and let it marinate and find out like what really happened. And when she realized that she was making a comment and arguing with me on my own timeline about my own who I voted for. Because I voted for Trump and I still support him to this day, I am a white supremacist and I probably should be killed. I need to be behind bars. I need to have my children killed in school because I deserve it. I don't think that's appropriate. I don't think that way of thinking is actually really solving one thing than bringing more violence. And guess what? That's exactly what these people want us to do. They want us to shoot each other up and get rid of each other because we are the ignorant animals that are taking up space on this planet. And this is exactly why this is being done to us. And we're too stupid, like the other Planet of the Apes. All of us, we're all the Planet of the Apes right now. Donald Trump might be the orangutan. I'm joking. Apparently, according to another journalist that's been following Valerie Jarrett, he made reference to her being the albino ape on Planet of the Apes. Not because of the way she looked, but because what her character is. Because what she said after Obama was elected the second term. I'll try to see if I can pull that up here to read for a second to you, now that I'm thinking about it. Oh, yeah. You know what Planet of the Apes is about, really? It's about the people like us. It shifted things. What is consciousness? What gives human freedom? What is the right to have freedom in this country? What is the right to have human sovereignty as our own existence? What makes us be worthy of not being enslaved? Is it an animal? Is it a human? What is it? Is it the mixture of the two? It really questions this, really. It's, that's what it's about. And then the ones that broke out and got some freedom, well, they took it too far and they became exactly like the people who enslaved them in the first place. That's my point here. No, everybody. We need to put our big pants on, okay? What is that? When in the Bible it says, when I was a child, I thought as a child, but when I became an adult, I put away childish things, and I thought as an adult, and I acted like an adult, and I behaved like an adult. Do adults want other adults' children to be murdered simply because the previous adults didn't get it right? It's disgusting. Every child has the right to be alive. Every child has a right to have a new beginning and not come into the rest of their lives living in our fucked up thoughts about who we are and our media propaganda by Hollywood and the politicians that are simply using this against the president that's not a part of their corrupt, pedivore, deep state, disgusting selves. And when I say I'm not just talking about the Democrats. I'm talking about all of them that are guilty of this. I'm talking about the rulers that have ruled since the beginning of time that are guilty of this. Because history, apparently, seems to be repeating itself. All right. Now, let's talk about red scarves. Let's talk about people wearing rat masks. Let's go back to talking about people who are apparently committing suicide that are so connected to Hollywood, so connected to the Hillary Clinton camp, so connected to all of this stuff that how can we ignore it at this point, really? And wonder, gee, the rats are ratting each other out, and they're eating each other up, and they're all imploding on each other. They're all pointing the finger at one another. My. All right, so let's see what else we can talk about today that will get me in trouble. Well, here's some good news. Trump signals support for legislation lifting federal ban on marijuana. Who knew that President Trump would actually be the marijuana president? Who knew that President Trump would seem to be doing more for marijuana than anybody else? But you know what? Most of, like Shona, won't acknowledge it, will they? No, they want to sit around and call everybody else who isn't like seeing their political views as being racist and shun them. And then they think that they're fit to like back and talk about a plant that's supposed to heal everyone, not just, people who are, who have more melanin in their skin. Trump signals support for legislation lifting federal ban on marijuana. President Donald Trump says he's inclined to support a bipartisan effort in Congress to ease the U.S. ban on marijuana. Asked Friday a proposal that would reshape the nation's approach to pot. Trump said he would end up supporting that. The legislation would ensure states have the right to determine the best approach to marijuana within their borders. Some U.S. restrictions would remain, including recreational sales to people under 21. Republican Senator Cory Gardner of Colorado is co-sponsoring, and Trump said he supported him. When asked about the measure, Trump told reporters in Washington that we're looking at it, but I probably will end up supporting that. Yes. Well, one thing that Mayor Hickenlooper in Colorado did not sign was the bill to help children with cannabis. And Michelle Walker, who I have interviewed, who has, she was also co-hosting with Chuck Ocelli for a time, has a son that is autistic from his DTaP vaccination. Epilepsy, seizures, we did a show on Revolution Radio early on in my time there, and we did a show about cannabis use and how it is effective for children with autism. There was a woman who listened to that show, and contacted her, and she was with an organization, a nonprofit that was working with legislation about this. She since has moved her son down there. Her son is now epileptic free. Okay, literally was on the brink of. You have no idea. I mean, I could go on and on about it, but just seems to be getting completely cured practically right now. And got involved with this organization. She's been part of the legislation. She was in tears because the bill was not signed. The bill was not signed. And yet, I do believe that Senator Gardner made a big old stink when they were going to when Jeff Sessions was going to run with that Cole memo, and he stood up then. But apparently, they still can't pass laws to take care of children in need, damaged children from their corrupt mandatory pharmaceuticals. Isn't that just lovely? Of course, it's not mandatory in Colorado, but it's certainly mandatory in the state of California. I'm sorry, guys, but if you're going to mandate our children to go to public schools to take put those chemicals in their body and attempt to fraudulently immunize them, and government sanction by people like Senator Pan in California, who also is working on a bill to stop our speech right now, that questions this because it's fake news. Yeah, I say that really sucks. And now they're not going to let us be able to heal our babies with the healing herb from God, from Yahweh. I've given you every plant and herb and seed upon the earth, and yet these people will not allow us to have access to it. It is literally unconstitutional not to allow us to consume cannabis as a right, as a sovereign being, apparently, that the Declaration of Independence is supposed to be giving us. Apparently it's not true, is it? We do not have the right to liberty, pursuit, and happiness, apparently, because we are in the image of our Creator. No, we're living Planet of the Apes right now. Because somebody has determined us not to be human. What's up with that? Somebody had this, image of, 2001 with the monkeys out there, banging on the bows and shit. Yeah, that's what we got to do, guys. We're all the monkeys. We're the monkeys. And the monkeys all come in all kinds of different colors, didn't they? They're different breeds of monkeys walking around. But they're still all enslaved And then they reversed it, and they enslaved the people who they thought enslaved them. And they got drunk with power. It's not the answer, is it? How dare we let them manipulate us? How dare we stop being kind to one another because it's the agenda of politics? I mean, you would think us as comedians would know better by listening to George Carlin. They don't really care about us. They're in another club, and you and I aren't in it. How come? What happened to us that we don't see that right now? No, I've got to prove that my race is superior to yours because you made me think that mine isn't, so now I want you dead. Well, I didn't do it. I'm not guilty. There's a bunch of other people that aren't guilty. My brother's children aren't guilty. My brother's children are half black. Do they get killed too because they have half white in them? I guess, no, that's acceptable, isn't it? That's the goal, really. Okay, so I'll stop there. All right, so there was something else weird going on. Oh, great, it's 333 right now. Shit. All right, there's something else going on. See, the 333 thing distracted me. That's not a good sign. Ooh, my friend just sent me something. What's this? What is this? This looks kind of interesting. Betty Boop, death by hanging from a doorknob, a signature pedophilia-related assassinations. Oh, thank you, Dejay. I'm gonna Hey, you know what? We're spontaneous here in the Freedom of Joyce show. This is the way it is, you know, because it happens that way. I always say, if you go with synchronicity, it's going to happen. Things are going to come to you right there, you know. Hey, the universe is my producer. So here we go. Public intelligence blog, Betty Boop death by hanging from a doorknob, the signature pedophilia-related assassinations, 11 people so far. Who knew doorknobs could be so deadly? Hung on doorknobs. Oh, okay, hung on doorknobs means choked for speaking out against the cabal. According to the corporate-controlled media, Spade hanged herself with a scarf on a doorknob in one of the bedrooms of their home, reports the New York Post. By the way, L. Ren Scott, former girlfriend of Nate Rothschild, Chris Cornell, Chester Bennington from Lincoln Park, and Robin Williams, 4 other different people also allegedly committed suicide by hanging themselves from a doorknob with a scarf. Excuse me. First of all, how high are these doorknobs? Right? Wouldn't your feet and probably your whole body touch the floor? Second of all, what kind of scarves are these? I don't think I have any scarves strong enough to do the job. Is there some suicide scarf collection out there? I think this trend of hanging oneself on doorknobs with scarves stinks to high heaven. I'm having a hard time buying it. Oh my God, thank God I'm not the only one. Sounds like some sort of calling card for the real killers. I was curious, so I looked it up. Again, Robin Williams supposedly hanged himself with tie from his doorknob. The Queen of Netherlands' sister just hung herself from her doorknob. That particular queen stepped down after allegations of having hunts where children were raped and massacred by her dinner guests. Wow. Whoa. That is just savage. That's some Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer shit right there, isn't it? Whoa. The Queen of Netherlands sister just hung herself from her doorknob. That particular queen stepped down after allegations of having hunts where children were raped and massacred by her dinner guests. And did they eat them afterwards? Fashion designer Alexander McQueen hung herself with a scarf on his closet doorknob. Oh, another fashion designer. Aaron Swartz hung himself on his doorknob after he hacked into MIT computers and found a huge stash of child pornography. Oh, my. Oh, my. Michael Hutchins from the band NXS hung himself from his doorknob. Chester Bennington hanged himself with a belt from his doorknob. Chris Cornell hung himself with an elastic workout band tied to a cabinet from the doorknob in his hotel bathroom. Bennington and Cornell were fighting to save kids from high-level pedophile sex rings. Kate Spade and L. Ren Scott were hung themselves with red scarves from their doorknobs. Who knew doorknobs were so deadly? Phi Beta Lada, one of our experts say that cutting off the bloodstream of the brain for 15 seconds causes a loss of consciousness. There are a number of alleged suicides in Europe that appear to be rooted in light strangulation with 2 fingers first, then hanging of the victim from the doorknob to complete the job. Murder, not suicide. The combination of the doorknob and the scarf appears to be a signature intended to terrorize others who may be thinking about ratting out the elites above them and known to them. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I'm going to click on this other link. Oh, it's not giving me anything. Did I get lost? I guess I did. All right. There you go. Scarves. Okay, so we have Trump being the best marijuana president ever, but he's the most racist president ever. So I guess there's a trade-off. This also came out through, I guess, one of the QAnon groups on Facebook, QAnon group that doesn't have a hyphen after the Q name. Some guy came in, went to a sort of function that Bill Clinton was speaking out and started screaming and asking questions about Lolita Island. And what about Jeffrey Epstein and his association with Jeffrey Epstein? The guy was removed, but I thought that was really interesting. When you watch the video, there's this sort of, I don't know, like shock from some of the people. Obviously, they are supporters of Bill Clinton, and they're trying to shut this up. But again, another sign where the public is becoming very unhappy with it. Okay, now. Another thing that I'm going to talk about right now is the child trafficking camp found in Arizona by Veterans on Patrol. Now, Veterans on Patrol is and the guy who heads that, darn it, I had listened to his. Well, anyways, he was involved with the Bundy Ranch situation, and was found to be an instigator. He is also being connected to Pete Santilli. Okay, and I know he's not necessarily popular among some of the folks associated with our network, but we'll leave it at that. I'm sure everybody knows already. God bless Vinny Eastwood. Okay, anyway. Now, that was a big charade, and one of the things that now I want to give you guys a little bit of a history about that. I was very familiar with the Bundys because I had interviewed some of the people associated. I also interviewed Ryan Payne when it first broke out, and when I was a host on Revolution Radio, they were very pro the Bundy occupation. Okay, from when it happened in Nevada to raising money and funds to all of a sudden just disappearing and pulling out for some reason to asking me to go to the bird sanctuary in Oregon and camp out and also be a live streamer for them, which I declined because I thought it was a very unsafe environment for me to be in and just really not my forte. And it's just I'm not up to the task. I'm not interested in being around it because honestly, it ended up that I ended up not supporting the occupation that took place in Oregon. And I realized the validity of what was going on in Nevada, but I thought that it was not cool for them to take guns and be on federal property. They were already being the aggressor in when it was in Nevada. According to Ryan Payne, they were there to protect the citizens against the snipers of our government. Okay, the BLM. Which I was questioning and wanting to know what was going on, trying to understand what a malicious role in the United States really is underneath the Second Amendment. Of course, Facebook, gave me a slap on the hand and took down every single one of those videos. By the way, okay, so now when that all that went down, of course, we know that they've just recently been released from prison. They are not ultimately being convicted, and and again, we're talking about the patriot community. Now, Craig Sawyer represents the patriot community. He is an ex-Navy SEAL. Okay. He was a former bodyguard to the Clintons, which I'm sorry, but that makes him highly suspect and compromised. Really, if anybody has any knowledge about where Pedogate started, look no further than John Podesta's emails. Let's start there, guys. If you're going to go after anybody, but no, nobody's going to touch that right now, because apparently these people just have carte blanche to just do whatever they want. And even though the FBI has gone in front of Congress and asked them for the arrest and the indictment of Hillary Clinton, does anybody hardly even know about it? No. We're talking about, what are we talking about now? We're talking about Anthony Bourdain and Kate Spade. Last week it was Roseanne. All right. Now we have this Craig Sawyer guy, kind of like really pop out of nowhere, getting, donations and everything like that. And he's all over this Arizona stuff, right? I mean, do you remember I did a show about it last week? I've got it up on the site. Just read it. Went into Carla. The thing that's interesting about anything that's going on in Arizona, which may have no association whatsoever, is Carlos Slim and who he is and what his connections to Mexico and child pornography, or at least the cardinal that sanctioned his marriage and the fundraising going on there and the corruption of the Catholic Church, Cimex company, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, fine. All that's interesting. But you know what? They don't really have anything out in Arizona. They don't really have anything out in Arizona. And look who changed their tune right away. Look, wow. Craig Sawyer did a video. I talked about it. Craig Sawyer did a video, American flag behind him, sitting there talking about how there was these rape trees and these straps, and there's a comb with blonde hair in it, and there's boxes of dye, and it's down in a septic tank, and it's really low, and blah 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 blah. And then all of a sudden it expands to there's these tunnels that are going across the border, and some of these kids might be trafficked over the border, and it may be going all the way down the 10 freeway. And let's all bring all the bikers and the patriots out. Bring your guns, guy. And there it is, the same guy from Veterans on Patrol getting donations. That same jackass out there that instigated and became, was a bad egg for the Bundy people. Is now jumped on board and acting like a whack job and doing all those things. All of a sudden, and let's just mention Stephen D. Kelly. Stephen D. Kelly smelled a rat with Craig Sawyer way in the beginning, okay, and then he was right on it with this other group, and he's been posting things, and lo and behold, ain't it true? all of a sudden, like, Mr. Sawyer has to save his ass. Now, again, this is my opinion. Some people say use your discernment and figure out. No, I think he had to save his ass, come out with this big old burly self and his big old beard and stand behind, whatever other platform he needs to make him look like he's credible for his fabulous documentary that he's going to be, given to Netflix based on his child trafficking. Gets up and denies it all of a sudden. Oh, before I thought there was no police report, but now it looks like this person came out and this person came out and they did a fair, and frankly, looking at all the evidence, I see there's absolutely nothing going on in Arizona. Not to say that child trafficking doesn't really happen, but there's nothing there. But like in a video before that, oh my God, he was sure that it was a rape tree. He was sure that was so he started all this stuff. He instigated all this stuff. This other nut job jumps on board, and all of a sudden we have another NRA gun-toting patriot psyop to make anybody talking about this, anybody associated with, now they put, and then it's QAnon conspiracy theorists think that there's child trafficking to make it look like none of this is real, see? None of this is real. Let's give us a fake child trafficking go-after guy is what I think is taking place. That's my opinion. I don't think I'm the only one because I've been seeing the videos. It's spreading like wildfire. What I'm talking about didn't get missed, did it? We need to be very careful about what we think is real and not real. And we need to be very careful about disinformation being put in the real information. I mean, there's one tweet, and I shared it, and you know what? I'm even willing to say that I'm not sure if it's real, because now, they're saying that this tweet was, right before he died, but now people, you can make something look like a tweet and then keep tweeting again like it was the real tweet. I say if the tweet, you didn't, one way a tweet is maybe true, I tweeted when I tweeted, and I tweeted again, and I'll tweet every time, and I won't ever stop tweeting, even if you decide to take my tweeting abilities away, so tweet you up the butt. No, okay. You tweet. Anthony Bourdain, I have information that will lead to the arrest of Hillary Clinton, 7/17, June 5th, June 18th, 5,092 retweets, 5,022 likes. Now, was that his last tweet? I mean, he did tweet some stuff where he was criticizing, the one where he criticizes Hillary Clinton knowing more about Harvey Weinstein and not saying what she said, that he wasn't buying it. That one, I believe that one happened. I think that one happened. Maybe even the one about, like, I can't tweet anything unless I get my okay from the deep state. That one might have happened. I think maybe that one might have. This one, I'm not so sure. But then I had somebody here tell me, make a comment that she's had it vetted by somebody, and that it is real. So people don't know, all right? Same thing with this, child trafficking stuff, the Arizona stuff. Wow, what a trap, guys. What a trap. Kind of the same trap that was going on up in Oregon, I think. I think, when they brought out everybody, and, LaFoy Finicum, God rest LaFoy Finicum's soul, okay? Out there willing to sacrifice himself to what he actually really believes is right. I know that we've all seen the footage of the shooting from the inside of what they went through and how they were shot at, and what really went down and where the shooting really took place. So obviously, it looks like the FBI wasn't playing fair. But isn't this a great way to get our Second Amendment rights away? Or isn't it a great way to go, oh, look at all these crazy patriots, those people who probably, have Confederate flags, those white racist people that don't pay their taxes on their mining fees, that racist Bundy man, because we remember the race card was used on him too. You know, I mean, taking part of an interview and then making it not giving the front part of what somebody says in order to instigate something to make it, oh, look at, we're not doing the Uranium One deal here with the Clinton Foundation and the John Podestas and the Tony Podestas and, you know, making a deal, with Russia. We're not doing that. No, we're not doing that at all. What we're doing is this is like a man who he doesn't own the land. The BLM has a force that it's not supposed to have. Okay, when did the BLM get armed? All right, and taser people and tell people you need to get off your property. We have a tortoise issue. There's a extinct tortoise, and we have to save this tortoise. And everything else that you're providing here is it takes you're done. You didn't pay your taxes. You need to go. Whatever excuse we need to do. This lame excuse of the other family up in Oregon. Oh, you burned the wrong crop on the wrong side. You got to go to prison. All of these things are, not right. Anybody should be able to at least have some sort of sit down like an Occupy movement where we all hang around like hippies and defecate on the lawn, right? Huh? Like what they say, like what Senator Cruz says, just a bunch of low-life hippies. No, Wall Street didn't do it. Wall Street didn't do anything. Here's what the government is doing to us. It's messing with our economics, all right? There are ways with math to predict the ultimate future of the economy and how to control it. Well, one way of controlling it is to actually give people the false promise of being able to get loans from houses, balloon, have everybody make a profit off it, know that it was going to crash anyway, and bring the economy down once more again, and just squeezing the apes and the non-human people that need to be exterminated upon the planet. But if you go out and protest about that and point a finger and go, you know what, there's a 1% that's fucking us over, and they're probably eating babies now, you're a dirty, defecating, hippie, drug user who is willing to rape on the encampment, and you need to be off of the lawn. I guess there's a lot of them all around the world. Yeah, that's what we're seeing here. We each other. I am not your enemy, and you are not my enemy. There's something else and someone else that is our enemy, and we need to wake up and start doing something about it and stop being stupid and making jokes about how let's kill white children and let's be nasty to each other, or let's talk about how women need to treat each other better. Well, you know what? If you want to sit around and take some high mighty road about if Michelle Obama wants to talk about how women need to treat each other better and make sure that they support each other by voting for a woman, come on, ladies. Well, then maybe the other people who are out there on your camp need to treat other women better, i.e. Samantha Bee or Kathy Griffin. Thank you so much for listening to the Freedom of Joyce show. I'm happy to be able to be here and do a show to you today, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I'll see you tomorrow. Till then, take care.